My homophobic daughter bullied other kids to the extent of self-harming, so I canceled her sweet 16th birthday party. She then told me I should unalive myself. My husband, John 45M, and I 41F have a daughter, Madison 16F. Ever since she was little, Madison dreamed of having the perfect 16th birthday party. Since Madison had always been well behaved, we decided that we would throw Madison the birthday party of her dreams. We both have financial stability, so cost wasn't an issue. We put months of planning into this party. Madison's actual birthday was on Monday, and we had a small family dinner at her favorite restaurant to celebrate since her actual birthday party was scheduled for 3 weeks from now. Everything was perfect until Wednesday, when my husband and I were called into a meeting at Madison's school. We were surprised to discover that Madison was suspended for her involvement in aggressively bullying a transgender classmate, Kelly, who had recently attempted to do something that I'm not allowed to say on this post. I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't believe it at first, but after I forced Madison to show me her phone, so that her father and I could look through her texts and social media, I was shocked to discover that not only was Madison involved, but she was the ringleader of a group of girls in her grade that bullied her. There were texts of Madison telling Kelly that she would never be a real girl and asking if she still had a PP. There were plans in the private group to pull Kelly's pants and underwear down in the middle of the cafeteria to prove that she was a man. I also found posts on her social media where she referred to transgender women as perverts and troons. I am not sure what this means and said that they would never be women. John and I were disgusted by Madison's behavior. We raised our children liberally and consider ourselves LGBT allies, and Madison in particular has always been an outspoken feminist like me. When we got home from the meeting, we talked it over and decided that not only would Madison have no electronics for the rest of the year, but we would be canceling her party too. We wouldn't get the money back for the venue and most of the arrangements we made already, but we decided that this is what needed to be done. We informed Madison of our decision yesterday, and she lost it, telling us that we were terrible parents for canceling her sweet 16 over a boy, and that we were punishing her for speaking her mind when it wasn't her fault Kelly did what she did. She begged us not to cancel it and said that this was her dream, but I told her that her behavior didn't warrant having the party of her dreams. She went back to her room, crying. We thought we did the right thing, especially when we told our 2 older daughters, but when we called John's mother, Shannon, and told her that the party would be canceled and why, she called us awful parents for crushing her dreams this way. Now we're having second thoughts. AITA, in the comments. NTA. You said that she considers herself a feminist. Has she been reading up on TERF posts? It could explain her transphobic rhetoric. OP. I did see the word TERF used on some posts, but I'm not sure what it means. Note. TERF means trans exclusionary radical feminist. An advocate of radical feminism who believes that a trans woman's gender identity is not legitimate, and who is hostile to the inclusion of trans people and gender-diverse people in the feminist movement. Troon is a combo of trans and cartoon, or trans and goon. NTA. Her behavior requires canceling her party. I would not be opposed to more punishment, as she has dug her heels in and doesn't think her behavior needs to change. Relieve her of that notion. OP. What else would you suggest? We have already taken her electronics away and don't plan to give them back until next year. I mean next year, as in a full year from now. Sorry for the confusion. Find a therapist who can talk to people who have been sucked in by cults. Because if she is using words like troon, she is deep in this hate cult. OP, thank you. It does seem cultish. We absolutely plan to start her in therapy and are looking into it right now. As far as I know, the other girls have all been suspended too. I think that Madison's suspension is longer because she was the ringleader, but I'm not sure. And yes, we are banning her from ever spending time with those friends again. Thank you. Update. My daughter said that she wishes I was unalive. My daughter, Madison 16, began therapy last week to address her behavior. She organized a bullying campaign against a classmate and posted harmful social media posts for context. She has not been adjusting to therapy well because she believes that she did nothing wrong, and this has resulted in arguments between her, myself, and my husband. If anything, I think this has caused her to double down on her behavior. This morning we got into an argument because I discovered her trying to steal her confiscated cell phone from my husband's office. I took the phone back from her and planned to put it in his safe along with our other valuables. But she threw a fit when I took it and started to scream at me that she hates me and wishes I were unalive. I have plans to tell Madison's therapist, but I'm distraught by what happened. I keep sobbing and even woke my husband up from how loud I was. I never thought that one of my children would say this to me. I don't know where I went wrong, but I feel like a fool for not noticing this behavior sooner. Second update. I wasn't going to post an update, but I felt that I owed it to all of the people who responded to my previous post. I'm sorry to report that Madison has only doubled down on her behavior in the weeks since my last post. She's now refusing to talk to me unless it's about dinner, or to bully me into handing over her electronics. She started at a new school this semester because we wanted to keep her away from her victim and the friends that she organized the harassment with, and she hasn't adjusted to it well. As far as I know, she has made no friends yet, but my husband, John, and I are refusing to transfer her back to her old school, and this frustrates her. We also refuse to give her electronics or social media back to her, and it will stay that way for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, she blames Kelly, the girl that she bullied, for everything that's happened, and it seems to have made her hatred for her worse. She has said a lot of derogatory things about her, including slurs, so John and I have discussed with her therapist enrolling our daughter in an LGBT sensitivity workshop aimed at teenagers. We have also discussed taking her to see a psychiatrist, and we have an appointment made for Tuesday. I wish I could say that things have improved, but my husband and I have formed a plan to get my daughter the help she needs. I hope to be back again with a more positive update next time. Third update in Ask LGBT. What steps can I take to help my daughter realize that her actions were wrong? She was active in TERF communities and aggressively bullied a transgender classmate. I posted about this on AmITheA since removed and True Off My Chest, and a user from True Off My Chest privately messaged me and recommended that I post on this subreddit for advice. My apologies if this doesn't belong here. Please tell me if I should remove it. If you are triggered by mentions of violence, self-harm attempts, sexual harassment, or transphobia, then I recommend moving to a different post. My husband, John, and I have always considered ourselves to be LGBT allies and have raised our kids to support LGBT rights as well. However, we recently discovered that our daughter, Madison, she is 16, was the ringleader in a violent bullying campaign against Kelly, a transgender classmate who sadly attempted to take her own life as a result of the bullying. After looking through Madison's text messages and social media, we were disgusted to find texts of her harassing Kelly, asking if she still had her genitals, and telling her she would never be a real girl like her. There were also plans between her and the other girls involved to pull Kelly's pants and underwear down in the school's cafeteria. We also discovered that she was active in TERF communities on various websites and posted hateful messages calling transgender women perverts and trying to prove that they aren't real women. Obviously, we are taking this very seriously. Her 16th birthday party was canceled. We've pulled Madison out of her old school and enrolled her in a different one. Her phone and electronics have been taken away for a year. She has started therapy, and we have made an appointment with a psychiatrist. We also plan to sign her up for an LGBT sensitivity workshop aimed at teens. However, Madison has only doubled down on her behavior. She doesn't seem to show any remorse over what she did or what happened to Kelly because she thinks she did nothing wrong, and she hasn't taken well to therapy or her new school. She has also attempted to steal her electronics back from my husband and me. I am trying to stay hopeful that the new environment will be good for her, but I am worried, so I decided to come to you all. What else can I do to make Madison realize the gravity of what she did? She has had no social media or phone for almost 2 months now, but she is still very stuck in the TERF mindset. Are there any resources available on how to deter this mindset? I'm unsure of what else to do aside from what we have planned, but I have seen people say that TERF is a gateway into other dangerous beliefs. In the comments, have you asked her what her preoccupation with Kelly is? Why is she so obsessed with this trans kid? And how did that lead to her being in hate groups? OP. I did try to ask her why she's so occupied with this girl's identity, but she told me that I wouldn't understand why. I've been hoping that therapy would cause her to open up more, but since the current therapist doesn't seem to be working, I'm going to consult with my husband and try to find a new one. I did also try to get her to see the gravity of the situation by telling her that she took part in something that caused another girl to try and take her own life, and that things would be different if Kelly's attempt had been successful. She told me that she didn't care. I don't know how else to make her see how serious this is. Why do parents resort to taking cell phones, Wi-Fi, PlayStations, etc.? You're making it worse. I'm 32, reliving my parents' tactics after reading your post. OP. I took my daughter's electronics because she used them to spread bigotry and hate against the classmates she bullied and LGBT people. It also helped her organize the bullying campaign with her friends. I'm sorry that you have terrible memories associated with your parents, but I fail to see how it's relevant here, unless you also used social media and group chats to harass another classmate to the point where she felt the need to try and take her own life. I can't imagine how stressful this must be for you and everyone else involved. The online TERF indoctrination is real. And I feel like that's likely what happened here. I think you're taking all the right steps. I don't have much advice, but I think it's important to try and figure out what feelings led to her turning to these beliefs. The TERF community in particular often preys on young girls who feel helpless in a misogynistic society or who have been victimized by men. If you look into it, you'll see many of them have experienced trauma at the hands of men and see trans women as trying to invade their women's only safe spaces to victimize them further. Obviously, this is not an excuse for their beliefs, but that is often where it starts. Therapy is definitely the way to go to get to the bottom of this. I was resistant to therapy in my teens, but my parents just kept at it, and eventually I opened up. OP. Yes, it's been very stressful for me and my husband. Thank you for the advice. I wasn't aware of that, but I will try to get to the bottom of how she got indoctrinated into those spaces. It has been going on for a while, at least because we found over 6 months worth of posts. We plan to continue with therapy. Commenters recommended various articles, videos, and groups. The OP said she would be looking into all of these suggestions and possibly trying a new therapist.